Good afternoon, good evening. We are live here for our Q&A about full day going back April 6th. We are going to give everybody just a couple of seconds to kind of pop on and be able to view the show tonight. And we appreciate everybody taking some time out of their day to just kind of hear some information about April 6th. And hopefully we're able to answer any questions you have. If you have questions during the presentation, you can go ahead and email Mrs. Hagens. She'll be monitoring the questions. We already received a handful of questions that we're going to be answering throughout tonight's short presentation. If we don't answer your question or you still have questions after, obviously you can let us know. Email me or email Mrs. Hagens so that we can try to answer your questions before April 6th. So again, thank you for those that are just joining us. We're going to just wait a few minutes and let everybody get on before we get started this evening. So I'm getting a thumbs up that the volume is good, so I appreciate that. As we start the presentation and we get started, I just want to say thank you to all of the parents. It's been a nice, wild ride this year, unexpected with everything that's happening. We just want to appreciate all the parents for all their support through all the remote learning early in the year, for those parents that have been remote learning all year, for those that have sent their kids back for the half-day hybrid that we have been doing since, my goodness, since the end of January. So we've been doing that for almost 2 months. And for those that are sending their kids back April 6th, we really appreciate it. It's been over a year since we've been in school normally. And we're excited about April 6th, just about the opportunity to be able to see everybody for a full day, be able to see the students in person that we haven't had a chance to see this year, and still continue to see those students remotely that have been on remote learning this year. And we're thankful for all the work and everything that all of the parents have done. So just wanted to start this out with a big thank you to all of you for all the work that you've done this year, and obviously to our amazing teachers. Put in a lot of work getting everything ready for not only remote learning beginning of the year, March 8th, but they have been preparing diligently for April 6th. And tomorrow there's no school, and that day is being used to just finish and finalize their planning for remote for April 6th, going back to that full day. A lot of changes, a lot of things we needed to think about in order to plan for, and we're going to go over some of those tonight. So just a few things. So I think most of you know, but I'm Mr. Lerner. I am the principal here at Elmwood Elementary. This is my third year as the principal. I am the principal. I am a husband. I am a father. I have a daughter that goes to kindergarten here and a 4-year-old son. I'm excited to be the principal here. Mrs. Hagens, our assistant principal, as well. She's not on here, but she's moderating from the background. But this is also Mrs. Hagen's third year as the assistant principal. She was a teacher here prior, and she lived and born and raised in Elmwood Park. And so we're excited that we're to be here. We're both excited to continue this journey this year as we continue to push toward that full day on April 6th. So again, why are we here tonight? We're here to talk about April 6th and the full day. What are our plans for the students that are in person? And also, what are our plans for some of the remote students throughout that day? And what will it look like? We understand we're entering a new era of teaching and learning. We have not done some of the things we're going to do on April 6th. And so we're here to try to clarify and give you as much information as possible on what's going to happen. So a couple of reasons we have been able to continue to stay open is because we have been following some of the mitigation strategies that have been recommended to us. So first and foremost, everybody who comes on school, students, staff, parents, have to wear a mask. So I think we're getting used to everybody having a mask in their pocket or close by. But parents, if you're coming to drop off or you're coming to pick up, you are required to wear a mask. Students are required to wear a mask all day while they're here in the building. One of the questions that came up was, when are students allowed to take off their mask? So because we'll be having lunch, the students will take off their mask at lunch. And then we'll also have mask breaks throughout the day where the teachers will take the kids outside so that they can take their mask off and take a break. I have been pleasantly surprised with only the half day, but a lot of our students are just doing a fantastic job of wearing them and understanding how to wear them. So one of the biggest things, making sure they're comfortable. The kids understand how to wear them and they're comfortable on their face. That's one of the biggest things that we've noticed, that if a student is taking it off, it's because it just doesn't feel comfortable. The other thing that we're continuing to do is keep the school clean. Kids have been doing a fantastic job of washing their hands, using hand sanitizer when needed. We sanitize their rooms frequently throughout the day. We sanitize the hallway, the knob, the bathrooms, you name it. We're consistently doing it during the day, and that's another reason why we've been able to continue to keep everybody healthy, and that will continue to happen when we go full day. Mr. Giles has been working to make sure to keep the school clean, and we have some extra help as well to continue to sanitize classrooms and sanitize the areas where kids continue to touch. So the first day of school, April 6th. So a handful of you have already been coming to school. So if you've already been coming into the building, you already understand the Crisis Go screener. So for those of you that are coming every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, you get an email that says to ask you to do the wellness screener, to ask you several questions. In order to come to school that day, you need to be able to answer no to all of those questions. So the questions are, do you have symptoms of COVID? Do you have additional symptoms of COVID? Has anybody in your home tested positive? And do you have anybody in your home awaiting to be tested for COVID? If you can say no to all of those, then you pass the screener and you're able to come into school that day. When you come in, you will have a badge that will be given to all of the students. And for those of you that are already coming, know this, we scan it when they come in. It allows it to see that the screener was taken, and that also that the student is able to enter. For those of you that are new, that are coming back on April 6th, please come to school earlier that day. The doors will open at 8:25, which is different than what we've been doing for the last 8 weeks. So at 8:25, the doors will open. If you are new to school, to in-person school, we ask you to get here about 8:15. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what doors you come to. That way we can give you your Crisis Go tag. We can talk to you about the entrance procedure, answer any questions that you have for that. Again, as a reminder, when they're coming to school, the kids should be wearing a mask. And again, they should be comfortable. One of the biggest struggles that we've been seeing about arrival is just the parking situation and drop off. For those of you that have been coming to Elmwood, you understand the morning gets a little bit hectic. For those of you that haven't been here during arrival, parking is limited. And the drop-off lane that we have is really not really a drop-off lane, just because of the amount of traffic and the size of our streets. So what we ask is that if you live close, please walk. It allows to alleviate the traffic, but also park up maybe a block or two away or a little bit away and walk up to have your child enter, because the morning and dismissal can be pretty crazy when you're here. But if you need help, you're not sure, just ask. We'll be able to help you with that arrival for your students. When you come to school, what do you need to bring? It's a big question that we have. All the supplies are being given to your child by us. So whiteboard and pencils and crayons and markers and scissors and glue, we are supplying all of that for students. So those of you that are coming back, what do you need to bring? Your laptop, and it should be charged. A backpack if you are having your computer in there. A water bottle. All of the students have been given a water bottle, and if they haven't, they'll get one when they arrive, but have them come with a water bottle that's full. The water fountains in school are no longer working, but what we have is we have a filtering system where they can put their bottle under and fill up their water. So we want everyone to be able to bring a bottle of water to school. They need to wear a mask, and I recommend that you bring extra mask, especially for those that have come half day. When the full day come, it's going to be a little bit hotter. They're going to be going outside. They're going to be going to gym. So I recommend sending a student with a second mask just in case they need to change it out throughout the day. And then finally, headphones. Please bring any headphones that you have or need. So if the students are on the computer throughout the day, you're able to see some things. So what will school look like? The schedule. So school, the doors open at 8:25. So we ask students to be here at 8:25, and the doors close at 8:35. School starts promptly at 8:35 for students. So when they come in the door, they will go right to their classroom and they will stay. So we ask that you get here on time, and then students dismiss at 3 o'clock. If you are a remote student, you will start at 8:40, and then you will dismiss at 3. And now those schedules have been shared with you by your classroom teacher. If you have not seen or got your remote schedule, for those of you that are remote, please reach out to your teacher or myself so we can be sure you get that. But that schedule has been sent, so you should know from 8:35 to 3 what my schedule is for my student for remote. When lunch is, when we're doing English language arts, when we're doing math, when we're doing science. So please take a look at that, and that would hopefully answer your question for most of the day. We would ask for you to give us a little flexibility during that first day or so. that they're so, because this is something the teachers haven't done, teaching the kids on the computer and also teaching kids in person. So we want to make sure that the teachers are learning and figuring it out. So if you're a remote student and the teacher is not online, they're supposed to be online at 1, give us a little bit time. Let the teacher come back from lunch or from recess or where they are and kind of figure out those transitions. So we would appreciate if you could give us a little flexibility. But if you do have a concern, please reach out to myself, Mrs. Hagen, or the classroom teacher about that schedule. When thinking about what teaching will look like in the classroom, we sent a letter on Monday talking about concurrent teaching. Most of our grade levels are doing some sort of concurrent teaching, and that is where the teacher is teaching the students on the computer and in person at the same time. It's something new. A lot of our staff haven't done it before, and we're going to try to do our best to engage the students remotely as well as the students in person. So in doing that, we're hoping to give some teachers, give the students a little bit more support throughout the day. So you may see a second adult in the room trying to help them with remote learning. And then same thing with the students that are in person, to try to give everybody a great experience coming back on April 6th. But again, if you have more questions about concurrent teaching and what that looks like, please reach out and we can try to answer your questions as much as possible. So coming back to full day, the biggest change is going to be lunch and recess. So currently, the way students have been coming back into school, they come in, they go into their classroom. The desks are spaced apart. So when we think about, we social distance to the greatest extent possible. And so that is anywhere, the desks are anywhere between 3 and 6 feet apart based on the classroom that they are. And the two big changes are lunch and recess. So lunch, the students will be eating in a designated eating area. So that will be either the cafeteria. We have another eating area by the gym and another eating area over by the library. So the students will be able to eat out of their classroom. The desk and the area that they're sitting at or the table, they are 6 feet apart because that is one of the guidelines we have to follow when eating. Obviously, students will take their mask off when they're eating and be able to eat lunch. One of the questions we've had is, what do the students do with their mask while they're eating? And so as a school, we don't have a system school-wide, but I've heard a lot of different things. The parents just having a baggie for them to put their mask on. Some parents are just saying tie it around your wrist. Others are buying a lanyard so that the mask can hang by their lanyard. Whatever you decide to do as a parent, please let us, let the child know so they know what to do with their mask. Again, another reason to bring some extra masks, because we just don't know if they spill on them. If they drop them on the floor, we want to make sure they have something else. So lunch will be 30 minutes. One of the things that we have is every student will be getting a free lunch during this particular time period. So we will send out a menu so you know what the students are getting for lunch. So when they enter the lunchroom, every student will be given a lunch if they wish, and they will sit down, they will have their lunch. And then if they bring a lunch as well, they will have both their lunches that they can sit and eat for the 30 minutes. Our goal during lunch is still to do some socialization. Obviously, they're 6 feet apart, so it's going to be a little bit different. But we know socializing is a huge part of what we need to do to continue to bring students back into the building. Recess is another thing. So recess, the students will be outside. They will be playing. A couple of the changes that we put in place is they will only play with their homeroom while they are outside. So if you are a third grade teacher and Miss Romano is your homeroom teacher, you will only play with those students. While they are playing, students are required to wear a mask. They are not required to stay 3 to 6 feet apart from each other while playing. Because we're outside and we're moving and we're running, students will interact with each other a little bit more. And per guidelines, we're able to do that. So we're hoping that recess can look somewhat normal for what the kids had in the past. They just won't be playing with a large group. They'll only be playing with their cohort of kids that are in their homeroom. Recess will kind of shift, so they'll have an area to play on. So we have 4 areas that students are allowed to play on. So they have the playground, we have 2 blacktop areas, and we will also be utilizing Central Park, which is just across Fullerton for some of our older students, so that we have more room to run around and play, and for those students to get that recess time. So if you have questions about that, please reach out and let us know about recess or lunch. So for when you entrance, for those that have come to school, you already know your entrance door. All of those have been communicated with you by your teacher. If you are new come April 6th, your classroom teacher will communicate which room or which door you will enter. We have 5 entrance doors at school. The main entrance, Miss Faraskia, Miss Biederman, and Miss Hudson's homeroom come in. Under the overhang, door 5, which is on by 75th Court, Miss Casantonis, Miss Marzillo, Miss Feldman's class will come in that door. Door 7, which is also off 75th Court under the overhang, Miss Brightsman, Mr. Boland, Miss Bravasinos, Miss Windish, Miss Anderson, and Miss Predovich's homerooms will come through that door. We have a door near the playground where we have Miss Horvath, Miss Ramundi, Miss Mangiamelli, and Miss Lester come in over near the playground off of door 8. And then we have an alley door off of the close to the main entrance. And Miss Romano, Mr. Falk, Miss Riccio, Miss Durkin, Miss Daniels, and Miss Campbell will come through those doors. So for those of you that have been coming, nothing has changed. For those of you that are new, if you need help trying to figure out which door, please, again, don't hesitate to reach out. One of the things we obviously are still working on is to keep all students safe. We know that people are still getting sick with COVID. We know that the symptoms are still going along. So obviously we take that wellness screener every day for every single student when they enter the building. One of the things that is shifting is come April 6th, we will not be taking the temperature of students anymore. Per the CDC guidelines, we no longer have to do that symptom screener, but we will still be doing the wellness screener for when you come in. So what we ask is that at arrival and dismissal, we ask parents to stay back away from the doors and not come close to the arrival door just to allow us the space. We do try to maintain social distancing during arrival. So we have paws on the ground outside each door to try to keep the students, socially distanced for at least a little bit of time before they come in the building. While answering your health question, we ask that you be honest. We understand that we want the kids in school, but if you do have a symptom, we ask that you fill that Crisis Go app and say you have a symptom. And then what happens is Miss Jersic, our school nurse, will call you and communicate about what the next steps are. And we have a policy in place that if we are not answering that correctly, that the student can be removed to remote learning. So we want to make sure that you're answering that truthfully. Again, we want to keep your child safe and all the children safe here at school and our staff. If you are traveling, we ask that you let us know. There are a number of states that you can travel to that you don't have to do anything. You don't have to take a test or quarantine. But if you travel to an orange state, which is one of the states that has a higher probability of COVID currently, please let us know because there are ways that we can assist you to ensure we get your kids back in school as long as everybody's healthy throughout that process. So we ask that you communicate with us. And then finally, just continue practicing washing your hands, wearing their mask. That's so important in keeping everybody safe for the students. So those are some of the things that I wanted to chat with you about, and then I'm going to start going over some of the questions that were sent to us. But if you continue to have questions, again, Mrs. Hagan is going to be monitoring. So one of the first questions that we had, what happens when someone in class catches COVID? Does everyone go on a 2-week or 10-day quarantine? So if someone in class tests COVID-19 positive, we follow the IDPH protocol, which is anybody who is considered a close contact would have to quarantine. And that would be anybody that was within within 6 feet for more than 15 minutes. And so that is, again, why we practice social distancing to try to maintain it as much as possible. If you are a student, the student has been in close contact, we would communicate with you and let you know what the next steps are. Another big question was a little bit about lunch. It talks about the free lunch. What does that look like? So at this time, for the month of April, it's going to be more of a cold option. So it'll be sandwiches, things that we don't need to heat up to eat. And again, I will share that menu with you. But if again, the lunch will be free for every single student. We want to make sure everybody eats. So if you need something, please let us know. But also, if you want to bring a lunch, we recommend that you bring a lunch as well. The other question was about breakfast. So every Friday, when students leave, they will be given a Saturday and Sunday lunch, and then they will also be given 7 days of breakfast for the following week. So any student on Friday that wishes to take that will be able to take that for the following week, and that again, that is offered to every student in our building for the particular option. Question about kindergarten with lunch. If my child is unable to open something independently, we do have lunch monitors that will be supporting the lunchroom, but we encourage you to make sure that your kids can open things on their own, so we can try to avoid that as much as possible. But that's a really great question. So those are some questions about lunch. Another question was about the Crisis Go. How do I make sure that I get that? So again, if you do not receive an email at 6 a.m. on April 6th, please come to school. We will have people outside supporting and helping. to ensure that you get those things. The Crisis Go, we recommend that you download the app. It does make it a little bit easier, but later on this evening, I will be sending out an email with a video showing you how to use the Crisis Go, so that if you have more questions, you can always see the video or see the flyer and understand it a little bit more. A question about arrival. So what time do the doors open? Again, the doors open at 8:25, and then we want to get the students all in the door by 8:35. So we ask that you be on time. We talked about mask. We talked a little bit about lunch. Another question is about food allergies. If you have a food allergy or you need a food allergy plan, please reach out to Ms. Jursic. Again, I'm going to put this in the email tonight, so you have her email address if you need anything from the school nurse. We talked about parking around Elmwood. Again, I recommend that you get here early or that you park a little bit and walk, because again, it can be a little bit chaotic, especially those first couple of days. If you're a new student, we ask that you walk up with the student to make sure they get checked in. I know some of the older parents have started to drop off and leave because they're a little bit more comfortable and they've been doing the wellness screener every day. If your child does not complete the wellness screener, and I think some of you know this, we'll be calling to get you to do that, and then the child can't come into the building yet. So we want to make sure that you do that. As the weather gets nicer, we know kids want to play. The playground is off limits before school. I know in the past kids have come to school and played on the playground, but we ask that kids don't come early and play on the playground before school just because of everything we have set up. After 3 o'clock, when school's out, you are more than willing to go play on the playground. We just ask that you continue to wear a mask and practice the social distancing while you're out there hanging out with the parents and the kids are playing. A couple of really great questions. We had a question about water. So again, we said that students are allowed to bring a water bottle. Each teacher has their own protocol of how they are allowed to drink water, but we want students to be able to get a drink during the day. So we just want to make sure that their water bottle is full. Again, we have filters here for the water bottles, but we think it's important that they have access to the water bottle each day. We answered some of those. One of the questions that we had is about bathroom. What happens if a student use the bathroom during the day? We have hallway monitors that are going to be circulating, but because we have been in school for a little while, the students understand the protocol. Students will be sent into the hallway to go use the restroom if they need to. We have a protocol for when they enter the bathroom, how they come out when they make sure they're cleaning. We have hand sanitizer and wipes and gloves at every single restroom. But we want to make sure that that can be used safely by all students every day. What is the procedure for materials that be sent home? Each teacher has their own set of materials. Some teachers will be sending a folder home each day with things to go back and forth. Other teachers will not send much. They might just send things virtually. So pay attention to your teacher about what they're going to be sending home each day for each your students. If a student misses a day, so if I'm an in-person student and I am sick or I'm not able to come in that day, what happened? So what you do is you need to call the main office and Miss Erica will take down the attendance. During that day, the student will do asynchronous or independent work from their teacher, whether that's on the Seesaw, on Seesaw or Google Classroom, but they won't join them remotely. They won't join a class remotely. So if they are sick or they're missing a day or they just have a doctor appointment, again, it's more going back to what we used to do. The student will make up the work doing asynchronous, or when they come in person, they'll make up anything that they've missed. If it is an extended period of time and we as a school have said, you need to quarantine because you are a close contact, then we will talk to you about what the teaching and instruction will look like for that particular student. But you're not able to bounce from in-person to remote back and forth because you weren't able to get to school or you didn't get up in time. So we encourage you to do that. And then speaking of getting up on time, there was a question about early pickups and tardies. So obviously we want everyone to be in school on time. But if you are late to school, which means you get here closer to 8:40, you must come in the main entrance. Again, you will still be screened. You will be marked tardy, and then you will be escorted to class by one of our hallway monitors. We encourage students to be here on time every day because, again, instruction starts right away at 8:35. For early dismissals, we encourage parents not to pick up kids early, especially with everything going on in the school and the amount of support we need. If you need to pick up your child early, we completely understand, but we want to discourage that. So try to keep the student here until 3 o'clock. If a student forgets their lunch at home, let's hope it doesn't happen. please call the office and let us know whether you need to bring up the lunch, and we'll come get it outside the door. But we encourage you to make sure your child has their lunch. Again, because lunch is free every day for every student, if you forget to pack a lunch for that kid, they will still eat, and you will not be charged. Speaking of being charged, My School Bucks was how you used to add money to your account. You do not need to do that because no one will be charged for any meals for the rest of this school year. So that was a little bit about late pickup. Are there any other questions, Mrs. Hagan?
Yes. They can still email me questions if they have.
Okay, if you still have questions, you can continue to email Mrs. Hagan, but we're going to go to the question line now. Some live questions from Mrs. Hagan. What do we got?
Okay, the first question that came in is that are all students, for clarification purposes, attending in person, going to go to school 5 days a week?
For all of the students that are coming in school are going to school 5 days a week full time. Now, not everybody has opted in, so we still do have a number of students that are remote, which is why we are concurrent. But for those of you that are opted in person, Monday through Friday, 8:35 to 3 o'clock.
All right, the next question. You might need to repeat it. I'm not sure if they'll be able to hear me. Will kids be required to wear a mask during gym class?
Will kids be required to wear a mask during gym class? The answer to that question is yes. Miss Sameka will be teaching gym in the gym, so students will still be around. Obviously, she's going to take a little bit more precautions as far as the amount of that they're doing, so sweating and different things like that. But if you know Miss Sameka, you know she likes to get the kids moving. But at this time, it is a requirement for students to wear a mask while they are in gym. If we have an opportunity for the students to go outside and play, again, just like recess, the kids will be wearing a mask. But again, if the kids need to take a mask break, it'll be something that we can arrange with the gym teacher. Great question.
If parents miss a supply pickup, how can they arrange to come get student supplies for students that are remote?
So the question is, if parents missed a supply pickup for those that are remote, how do they arrange that? What they would do is call the main office, and we can get it here. Specifically for some of those older students that have been doing supply pickups, we have the materials down here in the office, and we encourage you to get that tomorrow if possible, but obviously early in April 6th so that you're ready to go for the rest of the school year.
And I think you answered this question right after it was asked, but maybe if we want to emphasize it again anyways, our policy if families are traveling, especially over spring break.
Our policy about traveling. So if you travel, and I don't have the map in me, I apologize, but if you look up travel guidance for the CDC, there are yellow states and there are orange states. A yellow state you can travel to, and you can come back to Illinois, you can come back to school right away. You don't have to quarantine, you don't have to take a test, anything like that. If you travel to an orange state, so for example, Florida is an orange state, and I know there are some people that will be traveling to Florida over spring break. There is a protocol that we need to follow in order to come. So the options are you can either come back and quarantine for 10 days, or upon return, and again, we can get some more information, but upon return, you can take a COVID test, and if it's negative for the student and negative for the parent, then the student would be able to come back to school upon a negative COVID test. So that would be something we encourage parents to do on their own and kind of research. So if you're traveling, there are ways that you can come back to school quickly so you don't have to quarantine. If you are traveling internationally, you're going out of the country, that is a little bit more strict. Upon return, you are required to take a COVID test, but then I believe it's a 7-day quarantine for those coming back internationally, regardless of whether you tested positive or negative coming back from an international travel. Great question.
Another question, a parent wondering about the cleaning specifically and any types of modifications that might be done in PE class, specifically as far as like touching the floor and things like that for students.
Sure. So we have a sprayer just for PE. For those of you that we have realized, so sanitizing is a little bit different than cleaning because our goal is to sanitize. So what we have is a sprayer, and it sprays a mist over everything. So all of the things that the students may use or where they were sitting, it sprays a mist. It's something you don't wipe down, and it just it sanitizes the area in about 5 minutes, and then it dries on its own. So because we're doing something at the end of every special where the kids are taking a break, so our specials teachers are taking the students for a quick walk outside for a mask break or taking them to the bathroom so that those rooms can be sanitized. And just for clarification for specials, if you have music, you will go to the music class with Miss Olson. If you have art, you will go to art class with Miss Ward. If you have PE, you will go into the gym with Miss Sameka. Miss Novak will be teaching technology in the students' classroom, And Miss Meacham, if you have enrichment, will be pushing into the classroom again and teaching in the classroom. So if you have art, music, and PE, the class is about 40 minutes long, and then the teacher, they're taking the students out so that we can sanitize the classroom before the next class comes in. It takes about 5 to 7 minutes to do a sanitizing. And so it gets about 10 minutes in between. So it gives us more than enough time for the next class to come in and for everyone to feel safe. Good question about cleaning. So we had a lot of questions, and I know there's a lot of information that we shared with you tonight. If you still have questions, you just have concerns, please reach out to us. Please reach out to your classroom teacher. But as I started this presentation, I'll end. I just want to say thank you to all of you. Again, the last year has been crazy, and we couldn't have done it without all of the parents doing the remote learning, working from home, working while letting the kids learn. I was speaking to a parent today, and this will be the first time in a year that she's able to spend the whole day working and not having to try to teach her child, which is something that she is very excited about and doing. And we're able and excited to offer the full day option for those that are able to do it. And for those that are remote, we're equally excited to see what the next 9 week brings. The next 9 weeks bring, because we still have 9 weeks of school. So we're pretty excited about what we can do for these last 9 weeks. So thank you again for all your support. If you need anything, reach out. Have a wonderful day off tomorrow. Have a wonderful and safe spring break. And we will see everybody back here on April 6th. Have a wonderful night, guys.
Nice.